What's up YouTube? You join me on the way to Asda, and I thought this would be a good opportunity What up YouTube? Back with another video, and as promised in the last video, it's an in-depth tour of the GT4 interior and exterior, just going through everything about the car. If you already know about GT4s or Porsches in general, a lot of what I'm going to go through today you probably already know, but watch anyway. So here we are, my GT4. I'm still blown away, especially when looking at it with angles like this. It just looks absolutely beautiful, and I'm still blown away with the black and yellow spec. The PCCBs with the black paint look absolutely awesome. But yeah, less waffling, let's get into it. So straight away from the front, you'll notice the 3 air vents. Now that feeds the 3 radiators in this car. Now with a track focused road car, if you will, that's why you have the 3 radiators and air vents to feed air through there. We also have an additional splitter. Now this splitter does sit quite low, so it's 300 millimeters lower than the usual Cayman, and that means it does scrape now and again on speed humps and gradients when you're driving. But Porsche, they have made this part only £200, and that's across various GT models. They know these cars are going to be driven in various conditions on road and on track, so it's not like other manufacturers where they hike up the prices of splitters. It's only £200, and for me that's super reasonable on a car like this when you know you may scrape it. And to be honest, most of the time they only scrape it right at the bottom, so you can't even really notice any marks. But yeah, so you've got the vents, and then you've also got a small vent here, which is actually to release fumes as well from the radiator. Now, funny story about that actually started smoking yesterday, and I was absolutely bricking it. I was like, what is wrong with my new car? But quick search on the forums, I just washed it. As you can see, my arms couldn't quite reach there, but I just washed it, so there was standing water in the radiator, so once it got up to temperature it was actually just releasing steam. But for a moment I had a mini heart attack because I wasn't sure what was going on. Anyway, coming around to the side, the first thing that captures your eyes probably going to be the yellow from the brakes, and that's just Porsche's way of denoting the PCCBs, the ceramic brakes. Steels are red and the ceramic brakes are yellow. And when it comes to stopping power, from what I've been reading, there's not much difference between both. It's just longevity and the cost of replacing them, really. PCCBs are extremely expensive to replace, so if you're using this on track like every couple of weeks or so, steels are just a better option because they're cheaper to replace. And for road use, the stopping power is more than adequate and the same. Tyres, Pilot Sport Cup 2s. I haven't really had a chance to test these yet, but heard a lot of good things about these. I may get another set of wheels with some 4S's for the winter, potentially. We'll see what I do there. Another thing, if you've noticed and you're eagle-eyed, is the center cap of these wheels is actually different in that it's all black. Now that's because these wheels were actually platinum beforehand, and I had them changed black at the request, so before delivery, and that's because I just do not like platinum wheels, either silver or black, and I went with the black. And the center cap, which is actually plastic, was painted black as well. I quite actually like the look, so I'm not sure if I will get a normal center cap or not, because for now I think it looks fine. But if I do want to get an OEM center cap, I'll do that at another date. Another cool thing is there's actually an air vent there as well, which comes from the front diffuser, which is actually underneath the car, to actually cool down the brakes and provide extra downforce. So that's pretty cool as well, and you can actually remove those diffusers if you mess around with the angles of the car. Now, while we're on the front, the whole front suspension is actually borrowed from the GT3. So whilst the body is a Cayman body, if you will. It has been played around with by the GT division, but the full front suspension is a GT3 suspension. And whilst I was on the brakes and the wheels, the brakes themselves are also products of the GT3 and the Porsche GT department as well. So these are GT3 brakes on the GT4. Now the next thing that you'll see are these air vents which feed cool air through to the engine, which is right there behind the seats in the middle of the car. Not at the back like 911s and not at the front like traditional cars, but right in the middle. And the engine itself is from the 991 Carrera 2S, the 911 from the 991 generation, and it was actually detuned from around 400 or 410 to 385 horsepower. There's a lot of theories on why they detune the engine, but yeah, moving through rear wheels, just a quick look, and then we get to the back where there's even more aero on the car. You see a wing from the GT department and then the fixed spoiler as well. You get a better angle from this side. The wing, in my opinion, looks absolutely beautiful, and you can actually adjust the wing and how it sits to provide extra downforce if you need to, and then adjust the front diffusers as well. But you can also get risers which raise the wing up. I mean, for a GT department car, the wing does sit quite low, so you can get risers, which I will be doing soon. The fixed spoiler into the black Porsche and GT4 insignia, and then coming down we have the black tailpipes with the sports exhaust and the rear diffuser. So that's pretty much the outside. The red tail lights, I'm probably just going to be smoking those because they'll look so much better once they're smoked to go with the theme of the car. But yeah, that's pretty much the outside. Looks absolutely beautiful. One thing I didn't mention, I mentioned the front was a GT3 suspension. The suspension at the back was specifically done for the GT4. But let's hop inside. Now, hopping inside, I mean, if you watched the reveal video, you will have already seen this cabin. If you haven't, just click up there and you can see that. But a quick recap, we have the yellow stitching with the leather, then the carbon fibre trim into Alcantara, and this theme continues throughout. Yellow door pull. I do have to remind passengers sometimes, just because I am paranoid, that this door pull is not to hang on to. You can hang on to this if you need to, or the seat itself, but this will open the door. Do not pull this unless you want to open the door. Next, unique to Porsches, the electronic handbrake is actually here on the right hand side of the steering wheel, just below the light switch. Yeah, which I still am not a fan of, and I'm also not a fan of the action of this. You actually have to pull it to release the handbrake and push it to put the handbrake on, which yeah, I'm not a fan of. I think it should be the other way around. But one thing I am a fan of are these seats. Absolutely beautiful, especially with the yellow and black. Again, the stitching, I gotta know, I sound like a broken record just keeping going on about black and yellow, but I mean, they're so supportive. I've driven 3 hours in this, not a problem. Comfortable, supportive, and they look awesome. They're fully carbon backed. They're the same seats from the 918 hypercar, and they just look beautiful. The yellow seat belt just finishes it off. Anyway, let's jump in. Okay, you have the 3 dials in the middle, the tachometer, speedometer, and a little screen which links to the PCM module, which is here in the center. We have the sports chrono, as well as being a clock and just looking awesome. It actually links to a lap timer and an app for your phone, so you can actually time your laps and get all the detail and information to your phone as well. Moving across the cabin, you'll see this carbon trim here with a little icon. It's actually the icon for the cup holders. You actually have 2 cup holders hidden away, and the cool thing is you can actually then close it as well, so you've got a cup holder for the driver and one for the passenger. I've actually been using this cup holder as a phone, demonstrating a phone, but as a phone holder as well. So that's been pretty useful for now, until I find out which phone holder I want. pretty easy to tuck these back in as well. And then as we look around, the rest is standard. The theme of leather on top, stitching, carbon, and then Alcantara at the bottom continues throughout. Then we come on to the gear stick. This gear, the short shifts, are absolutely beautiful. I'm still coming to terms, not the right term, but yeah, I'm still getting used to manual again pretty quick, but I'm absolutely loving it. And then we have a few controls down here. Sports exhaust, ESC and traction control off, stability control off, sports suspension here, and then a sport button. Cool fact about this, that is not actually a sports mode, that's actually the auto blip function, where on the downshifts it matches the revs for you. And the reason why it's the sport button is because Porsche didn't actually have time to manufacture a new button that said auto blip. They got that right on the 718 GT4, but this I believe was from the GT3 or another Porsche product, where they just put the sport button in because they didn't have an auto blip button, and that's what that is. But yeah, the cabin itself, it's a beautiful place to be. The steering wheel, coming from a BMW wheel which was just super fat, this just feels like a race car. It feels like a go-kart. It's so responsive. The feel through this is awesome, and I really would not want to go back when you've used one of these steering wheels. I can see why people say it's the best in the business. If we turn around, the engine, like I said, is actually right here behind the driver, which means you can hear absolutely everything, which is awesome. But let's take a look at the back. Now, being mid-engined, we actually have a boot at the back. So if I just lift this up, we have a very small boot. I mean, you can get 2 overnight bags, maybe a small suitcase and a backpack. I fit both in here and it was perfectly fine. And a parcel shelf with some extra storage here as well, which I don't know what I'd use for, maybe packages or something, or an umbrella. It goes down quite deep, but you have extra storage on both sides as well. You can get stuff on this parcel shelf. And yeah, the engine is right down here below there. You also have access to the coolant and engine oil here as well, directly to the engine. But yeah, decent sized boot. And now with this being a mid-engine car, you get a frunk as well, a front boot. So let's have a look at that. See if I can open this with one hand. There we are. And you'll see this is quite a decent sized front boot. It goes quite deep. Easily get 2 small suitcases, 4 overnight bags if you will. But yeah, emergency triangle, tyre pressure filler oil thing, which you pump into the tyres if you get a flat tyre, as obviously there's no spare and we don't use run flats. You top up the wind shield fluid. I've just got a blank, I forgot what it's called, but that stuff, the fluid as well. But yeah, that's pretty much an overview, an in-depth tour of the car, at least the features that I've been going through anyway. But yeah guys, I hope you enjoyed the tour of my GT4. I'll be coming out with a few more driving videos now as well. If there's anything you want to see with the GT4, you have any ideas, any questions, just leave them below in the comments and I'll be sure to answer. But yeah, I'm booking my first track day for April. I've got my first impressions video and I want to do a few cool things with this car. I'm going to be going to Germany to the Nürburgring as well. Maybe also some racing driving tuition as well, once COVID allows, and really to extract the full value from the car and really learn the craft. And yeah, that is pretty much it. I would really appreciate it if you could hit the like button. Again, leave comments if there's anything you want to see, and yeah, subscribe if you haven't. See you in the next video. Peace.